The moment my younger brother picked up my daughter's gift, I knew something bad was coming. Not because of his words, because of his smile. It was tight, crooked, the kind people wear right before they humiliate someone and want witnesses. He stood there under the string lights in my parents' backyard, one hand wrapped around a beer, the other lifting the small wooden box my daughter had made for him. The music dipped for half a second. Plates clinked. Someone laughed too loud. He shook the box once. Light. Hollow. "Is this it?" he said. My daughter stood in front of him, shoulders back, chin up, holding her breath like she'd practiced in the mirror. 11 years old, dirt still under her fingernails from the garage workbench. She'd spent 4 months on that box, every afternoon after homework, measuring twice, sanding slow, saving allowance for the tiny brass hinges. "It's handmade," she said, soft, proud. My brother popped the lid, glanced inside, and snorted. "Cheap," he said, then louder for everyone. "Worthless trash." And before I could move, before anyone could even fake shock, he tossed it. Hard. Straight into her face. Wood cracked against her cheek. The hinge scraped skin. The box hit the concrete and split open like it had been waiting to break. That was the first snap. If you've ever had family treat you like you don't matter, like your effort, your kids, your sacrifices are disposable, hit like, subscribe, and stay with me, because this didn't end the way they thought it would. My daughter staggered back, not far, just enough to lose balance. She didn't cry, not right away. She blinked once, then twice, like her brain was buffering. A thin line of red appeared at the corner of her mouth. The yard went quiet. Not shocked quiet. Awkward quiet. My father leaned back in his lawn chair, insulin pump clipped to his belt, and let out a low chuckle like he'd just watched a blooper reel. My mother sighed and waved a hand. "Oh my God, Ryan, she's being sensitive. It's just a box." A cousin lifted her phone. Someone else muttered, "Kids these days." No one picked the box up. My brother had already turned away, laughing with his friends, beer sloshing over his knuckles. He didn't even look back. That was the second snap. I knelt in front of my daughter, picked up the broken lid, the grain split clean down the middle. I could still see the pencil marks she hadn't sanded all the way out, the corners she'd rounded too carefully, the place where she'd carved his name a little too deep because her hands were shaking. She pressed her lips together, hard. Blood dotted the concrete. "I'm okay," she whispered, like she was asking permission to be okay. I stood up. My phone was already in my hand. I don't remember reaching for it. Muscle memory, maybe. 8 years of paying bills on time. 8 years of covering gaps. 8 years of keeping things quiet so nobody else had to feel uncomfortable. I took one photo. My brother's car parked crooked on the lawn. Shiny. New. Still smelled like leather. The car I'd signed for. Then I opened my banking app. Rent scheduled. Utilities queued. Automatic transfers lined up like obedient soldiers. My thumb hovered. My mother noticed the phone. "What are you doing?" she asked sharp now. I didn't answer. I typed one sentence into the family group chat, attached the photo of the car, then a screenshot of the rent withdrawal scheduled for 3 days from now. "You're on your own." Everything stops. Phones buzzed around the yard like a swarm. My brother's head snapped up. "You're joking." I slipped my phone into my pocket. My daughter tugged my sleeve. Her fingers were shaking. I took her hand. It felt small, too small for how much she'd just swallowed. We walked past the folding tables, past the tamales going cold, past the chili lights humming overhead. No one stopped us. No one apologized. My mother didn't even look at my daughter's face. The gate clanged shut behind us. In the car, she pressed a napkin to her cheek. Silent, no sobbing. That scared me more than tears ever could. The tires crunched over gravel. Behind us, my brother was shouting. I didn't hear the words. I didn't need to. That was the third snap. At home, she showered, came out with a butterfly bandage from the first aid kit. She sat at her desk and placed the broken box in front of her like it was a body. She stared at it for a long time. Then she opened her laptop, started sketching something new, sharper lines, harder angles. No flowers this time. I went to the kitchen. The dishwasher hummed, the clock clicked. The house felt hollow in a good way. Honest. I opened my laptop, logged into the bank, scrolled to recurring payments, my parents' rent, utilities, internet. All the quiet things I'd been carrying so no one else had to notice. My finger paused, then clicked. Confirmation pinged. Payment canceled. I didn't feel relief. Not yet. Just stillness. My phone buzzed once, then again, then 4 times in a row. I didn't listen to a single voicemail. I sat on the couch and stared at the dark screen while my daughter's desk lamp stayed on light spilling under her door, wood shavings still in her hair, jaw set like she was older than she should be. That night I didn't sleep much. But for the first time in years, nothing was pulling money out of my account at dawn. And something inside me, something quiet and patient, stood up and said enough. For 7 years, I wasn't a sister. I was a bank. Not the kind with marble floors and guards. The quiet kind. The kind that never says no. It started small. It always does, just until Dad's hours pick back up. Just 1 month, Elena. Family helps family. That sentence got a lot of mileage. My parents' rent came first, every month, same amount, same date. I didn't even think about it anymore. It auto-drafted at dawn like a reflex. $1,200 and change. Enough to keep the lights on, the AC running, the fridge full. Enough so no one had to worry. They never asked how I was doing. They just asked if the transfer went through. When I got divorced, my mother hugged me and whispered, "At least you still have work." Like that was the only thing about me worth keeping. I told myself it was temporary. Ryan came next. My younger brother had a gift for starting things, not finishing them. Ideas came to him like fireworks, bright, loud, gone fast. A food truck, a screen printing shop, a vape lounge. Each one died the same way. Rent due, partners gone, blame everywhere. Then one afternoon he showed up at my house with a folder tucked under his arm and hope all over his face. "I've got it figured out," he said, spreading papers across my kitchen table. Numbers, projections, photos of pottery wheels and shelves lined with mugs, a storefront near a tourist strip. "Handmade sells," he said. "People pay for stories." Sophie was in the living room coloring quietly. She looked up when he laughed too loud. "I just need help getting started," he said. "Just the upfront. I'll pay you back." "How much?" $70,000. He said it fast, like ripping off a bandage. I stared at the number. My coffee went cold. My chest tightened in that familiar way, the way it did every time someone needed something from me and I was the only option left. "I'll put the car up," he added quickly. "The BMW. You'll be protected. Full collateral. I swear." The word swear should have stopped me. Instead, I asked for details. We met with a lawyer. Clean paperwork, interest, terms, my name where it shouldn't have been. His name spelled confidently. The car title transferred that same afternoon. He drove off, grinning, music blasting, waving like he'd just won something. I stood in the parking lot with my keys in my hand and told myself this is what family does. The first year it almost worked. Payments came in on time, photos of clay-covered hands, late-night texts about firing schedules, messages that ended with, "Couldn't have done this without you, sis." My parents bragged to anyone who would listen. "Ryan's an entrepreneur," my mother said, chest puffed out. They never mentioned the loan, or the rent, or whose name was really holding things together. I didn't correct them. I wanted peace. For Sophie. For me. Then the messages slowed. 1 month late, then another. He blamed suppliers, then the landlord, then the economy. Always something abstract, never himself. "I'll catch up next month," he said. "Just need a little flexibility." I covered the gap. My parents' rent still pulled on time. Utilities, too. Internet, phone, medical copays. I told myself it was cheaper than chaos. Ryan stopped coming by. Stopped answering during business hours. When I drove past the shop one afternoon, the lights were off. The sign hung crooked. Dust on the window. I called him. He answered from a bar. "Relax," he said. "You're stressing over nothing." I reminded him about the car. He laughed. That laugh stayed with me. At night, after Sophie went to bed, I'd open my laptop and stare at my accounts. Numbers marching out. Quiet, efficient, draining. I told myself I was protecting my daughter, keeping things stable, keeping drama away from her life. That's the lie that worked the longest. When Ryan missed another payment, my mother called me instead of him. "He's under pressure," she said. "You know how sensitive he is." Sensitive. At 34, my father chimed in once, voice flat. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I didn't ask what that meant. I paid. Sophie started asking questions around then. Why doesn't Uncle Ryan visit anymore? Why does Grandma say you're always busy? I told her he was working hard. I told her adults mess up sometimes. I told her everything was fine. The night she fell asleep at the table waiting for him to show up for dinner, something twisted in my chest. He never called, never apologized. The next morning, my bank app showed another overdraft warning. I fixed it before she woke up. That's what I'd been teaching her without realizing it. That love means absorbing damage quietly. That silence is safer than truth. By the time he threw her gift, the system was already built. I was just the last piece holding it up. 7 years of rent, 7 years of just until, 7 years of swallowing words so no one else had to choke on them. I thought I was being strong, but sitting there later watching my daughter redesign something harder, sharper, watching her learn resilience from a wound I helped allow, I finally asked myself the question I'd been dodging for years. What am I teaching my child if I keep choosing silence? I didn't announce anything. No speeches, no warnings, no long messages explaining my feelings. I just started turning things off. The next morning, I opened my laptop before the coffee finished brewing. The house was quiet. Sophie still asleep. The dishwasher clicked as it cooled, that soft plastic tick like a countdown. I logged into my bank, rent to my parents, toggle, off, electric, off, internet, off. The little green confirmations stacked neatly on the screen. Canceled, canceled, canceled. 7 years of muscle memory undone in less than a minute. My hands didn't shake. That surprised me. Then I opened my email and forwarded everything to Michael Trent, the attorney whose number I'd saved 2 years earlier and hoped I'd never use. Subject line, activate default provisions. No emojis, no apologies. He replied within 20 minutes, short, professional, cold in a comforting way. Demand letter goes out today. 30-day cure period already partially elapsed. Collateral recovery authorized. I didn't respond. There was nothing to add. By noon, my phone started buzzing. Ryan first. 1 call. Ignored. 2nd call. Ignored. Then the texts. You serious? This isn't funny, Elena. Stop playing games. I didn't block him yet. I wanted the record clean. At 1:07 p.m., he left a voicemail. His voice was light, laughing almost. Okay, you made your point. You always do this dramatic stuff. Call me back. Dramatic. That word did a lot of heavy lifting in our family. By 3, the tone changed. Hey, listen, we can talk about this. You didn't have to scare Mom. By 5, the calls doubled. My parents joined in. My mother's first message was sharp. What did you do? No hello. No concern for Sophie. Just accusation. I didn't answer. At 9:45 the next morning, my phone buzzed with a link. Live feed. The repo company didn't miss appointments. 2 men in reflective vests, clipboards, no urgency, no emotion, just process. Ryan's shop sat in the background sign swinging slightly in the heat. Shelves visible through the window, half empty now. Dust on the counter. No customers. Ryan paced in front of the BMW phone pressed to his ear, free hand slicing the air like that might change something. He looked small. The truck backed in, chains clinked, metal on metal. Efficient, almost gentle. Ryan lunged once, not smart. One of the men stepped aside without breaking stride. 3 minutes. That's all it took. The car lifted like it weighed nothing, like it had never mattered. People stopped. Phones came out. Someone pointed. Ryan ran after the truck, shouting words I couldn't hear through the feed. It turned the corner and was gone. I closed the link. At noon, Michael emailed again. Vehicle secured. Auction scheduled. No extensions. I forwarded it to Ryan. No message attached. That's when the panic hit him. Calls every 10 minutes, then every 5. Then back to back like breathing wasn't optional anymore. Please, he said in one voicemail. Voice cracked now. You don't understand what you're doing. I did. That afternoon, Sophie came home from school and found me at the kitchen table, laptop open, papers spread out. She stopped in the doorway, watching quietly. Are we okay? She asked. Yes, I said, and meant it. By evening, my parents showed up in person. No warning, no call first. Just pounding on the door like that would put them back in control. I didn't open it. My mother's voice slipped under the door, sharp and fast. "You've gone too far." My father tried next. Lower, slower. "We need to talk." I stayed silent. They stood there for 10 minutes, long enough for the neighbors' lights to flick on, long enough for embarrassment to start working on them. They left. The next day, the auction notice went live, starting bid lower than Ryan expected. No reserve. By afternoon, bids crept in. Dealers, one collector from Sedona, final hammer before close of business. Not enough to save him. The deficiency followed. Clean. Typed, unemotional. Ryan called, screaming, "You ruined everything I built." That word again. I deleted the voicemail. Then the messages from my parents shifted. The anger drained out fast when the numbers hit. My mother called crying, actual tears this time. "We don't have the rent." My father followed with facts, medical bills, groceries, his insulin. I listened to one voicemail. Just one. Then I archived it. I wasn't punishing them. I was stopping. By the end of the week, the shop windows were bare. No mugs, no planters, the kiln cold. Yelp reviews whispered instead of shouted. Ryan stopped calling during the day. Nights only now. Long messages. Apologies that arrived too late and too loud. Sophie watched me delete them without comment. That night, as I locked the doors and checked the windows, I felt something unfamiliar settle in my chest. Not guilt, not relief, momentum. I had stopped talking, and everything they'd been standing on was already falling. It happened at 1:12 a.m., not during the day, not sober, not controlled. The first knock wasn't loud. It was heavy, like a shoulder testing a door. I was halfway down the hall when the second hit landed, harder, meaner. The frame rattled. The porch light flicked on, flooding the hallway with a pale stripe through the peephole. Sophie screamed. Not a full scream, the kind kids make when fear jumps ahead of sound. She bolted from her room and slammed into the closet, dragging the door shut behind her. I heard hangers clatter. Her breath went thin, fast. "Mom," she whispered. "Mom, please." That was the third snap. I didn't shout. I didn't run to the door. I moved slow, deliberate. Pressed my back to the wall. Phone already in my hand. Another pound. Fist this time. Then a kick low against the baseboard. "Open the door," Ryan slurred. "You can't do this to me." The Ring app glowed blue on my screen. Live feed. His face filled at eyes, glassy shirt, untucked bottle dangling from his fingers. He leaned too close to the camera breath, fogging the lens. "You think you're better than me?" he shouted at the door. "You think you can just cut me off?" He slammed his palm again, hard enough that Sophie whimpered from the closet. I dropped to one knee outside her door. "Stay inside," I whispered. "Lock it. Don't come out." She nodded. I could hear her teeth clicking. Ryan kicked the door again. The sound traveled through the house like a gunshot. That was the fourth snap. I called 911. My voice didn't shake. That surprised me, too. "There's an intoxicated man at my address," I said quietly. "He's pounding on the door. My child is inside. We are locked in. Camera is recording. The operator asked if he was armed." "I don't know," I said, "but he's not leaving." Outside, Ryan started yelling again. Words fell apart in his mouth. Accusations, threats, promises. "I built my life on you," he said, voice cracking. "You owe me. Owe." That word had been bleeding me dry for years. Sirens cut through the night 4 minutes later. Fast. Close. Ryan heard them and staggered back. Tried the handle one last time like that might rewrite the ending. Red and blue lights washed over the porch, flashing across his face, his bottle, his shaking hands. "Step back," an officer ordered. "Hands where I can see them." Ryan laughed once. High and wrong. Then he swung an arm. Bad choice. Cuffs clicked. Clean. Final. One officer knocked gently. "Ma'am," he said, "you can open the door now. I cracked it just enough to show my ID." He glanced at the ring footage on his tablet, nodded once. "We'll book him for disorderly," he said. "I recommend a protective order first thing in the morning." I didn't hesitate. I will. Sophie stayed in the closet until the lights were gone, until the house went quiet again. That night she slept with the lamp on, door cracked, shoes still on. I sat on the floor outside her room until her breathing slowed. By noon the next day, the restraining order was filed. 200 yards, no contact, no exceptions. Ryan signed at the station, eyes bloodshot, jaw tight. 2 nights later, he violated it. Unknown number, 1 voicemail, just breathing. Then a click. Police traced it to a burner phone at a gas station. Citation issued. Fine, warning attached. I ordered smart locks that night, installed them myself while Sophie held the level. The drill whined, screws bit into wood. Test it, I said. She did. 3 times. The deadbolt slid home with a soft electronic chime. Her shoulders dropped a fraction. A week passed, then another. No knocks, no calls. I thought maybe that was it. I was wrong. My parents tried a different door. They showed up at my office during rush hour. I saw them on the lobby monitor first. My mother holding a piece of cardboard with thick black letters. My father leaning on his cane, face tight with purpose. Ungrateful daughter. Employees slowed as they walked past. Some stared, some lifted phones. Security radioed in from the gate. HR messaged me before I could blink. We're handling it. 2 guards approached my parents with open palms. Calm voices, firm steps. This is private property, one said. You need to move to the sidewalk. She's our daughter, my mother snapped. This is a family matter. The guard didn't argue. He just kept walking them back inch by inch until the curb marked the line. Any return will be considered trespassing, he said. You'll be cited. My father muttered something about lawyers. My mother folded the sign, lips thin, eyes burning. They left in their rattling sedan engine, coughing to life. By the time I got home that evening, legal had already drafted the cease and desist. Certified, delivered, logged. I forwarded the ring footage, the voicemails, the gate incident. Michael Trent called me once. You did the right thing, he said. This crossed into safety. Safety. That word finally landed. This was never about money. Not really. It was about what people feel entitled to take and how angry they get when the answer becomes no. Sophie didn't ask about her uncle anymore. She asked where the emergency numbers were. She asked how the locks worked. She asked if she could keep her lamp on again. I said yes to all of it. That night, as I watched her sleep, lamp glowing, door cracked, breath steady, I understood something with brutal clarity. The moment adults become dangerous, silence is no longer kindness. It's consent. And I was done giving it. The noise didn't stop all at once. It thinned. Like a crowd leaving a stadium after a loss first, the shouting, then the arguing, then just footsteps fading into concrete. My parents missed their first payment 2 weeks after I cut the transfers. They called every day for a while, left messages full of numbers, dates, consequences, as if consequences were new. Then the calls slowed. Ryan disappeared first. His number went dark. The shop closed without ceremony, no sign, no announcement. One morning the windows were papered over, and that was that. The place where he'd said he was building a future became a blank rectangle on a busy street. My parents held on longer. Pride burned slow. They tried guilt, then pity, then prayer posts on social media with no names and plenty of implication. I didn't respond. The house felt different without the constant buzzing of my phone. Quieter, not empty honest, the kind of quiet that lets you hear your own thoughts again. 3 months later, Sophie and I moved. Nothing dramatic, no midnight escape, just boxes and a rented truck and a new key that fit a different door. A smaller place north of the city, clean lines, fewer neighbors, trees instead of traffic. Her room faced the morning sun. The first night there, she slept with the lamp off. That mattered. The therapy sessions tapered down. Her counselor used words like resilient and regulated. I watched Sophie's hands change as the weeks passed, less tremor, more intention. She asked for better tools, harder wood, plans with moving parts. She built a jewelry box with a hidden compartment. No nails, sliding panels. Precise. When she finished, she didn't rush to give it away. She kept it. I got better too. Not kinder, clearer. I stopped checking my phone every time a door closed somewhere. I stopped bracing for impact that never came. My shoulders dropped an inch and stayed there. The world didn't end because I said no. It reorganized. The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Plain envelope, no return address. My name written in a careful, unfamiliar hand. 3 pages. Yellow legal pad. Creased and smudged like it had been folded and unfolded too many times. Ryan apologized. Sort of. He said he'd been under pressure. That he'd messed up. That he saw things clearly now. He mentioned our parents, their health, bills. He asked for help. Not forgiveness help. Sophie watched me read it from across the table. She didn't ask what it said. She just waited. I folded the pages once, put them back in the envelope, dropped it into the trash under coffee grounds and yesterday's mail. Then I wrote a postcard. Plain, white, no picture, no return address, 1 sentence. We are no longer family. I mailed it from a box 2 streets over. That was it. No follow-up, no debate, no money changing hands, no final call. Silence did the rest. We changed our numbers, our routines, the vet, the grocery store, the route to school. Not out of fear, out of intention. Privacy is a boundary too. A year passed. Sophie entered a woodworking piece in the county fair and took second place. Blue ribbon. She shrugged like it wasn't a big deal, then smiled when she thought I wasn't looking. The box sat on our mantel, solid and beautiful and unthrown. I advanced at work. Flexible hours, stock options, the kind of stability that doesn't demand performance at home. Sometimes I heard things through distant relatives, a charity clinic, a motel, a cashier job with a crooked name tag, lives shrinking to the size of their choices. I didn't celebrate it. I didn't mourn it either. One afternoon on a trail near our new place, Sophie asked, "Do you miss them?" I thought of the backyard lights, the broken box, the pounding door at 1 a.m., the sign outside my office, the years of money leaving quietly at dawn. "I miss who I thought they were," I said. She nodded and adjusted her backpack. We kept walking. Peace didn't arrive with fireworks. It showed up in small ways. Locked doors that stayed locked. Lamps that stayed off. Mornings without dread. Evenings without apologies rehearsed in my head. I learned something I wish I'd known sooner. Boundaries don't destroy families. They reveal them. And this is the truth I'll leave you with. Peace doesn't come from blind forgiveness. It comes when you stop giving people permission to break your child's life.